Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and if you're on mobile and extra cheeky, you can also hit that hype button, really appreciate it too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now this first story comes from Try4232M3 and it says, a guest, late 30s, coming over for dinner tonight is the most obnoxious intellectual you could ever meet. My 28 male, wife 29 female, wants a peaceful party. Do I keep quiet or call him out on his rudeness and BS? And before we do get into this story, just give you a warning, there is a trigger warning on it of borderline racism, so if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. And let's crack on with it. My wife loves entertaining. Is a good place to start. I'm already pretty introverted, so having people over feels like a real invasion of my space. Even without this guy coming over, I'm already filled with such anxiety I can hardly sit still, and I won't be able to relax until everyone is gone. So all the attendees tonight come from our kids' swim team, who my wife wants to get to know better. One of the invitees is also a dad with a kid on the team, and he's a professor at the state university in our town. It's hard to describe him, but I'm sure everyone reading this has met someone just like him. Despite being a professor, he's as dumb as a rock, but obviously loves to intrude on everyone else's conversation to give his expert opinion. For example, I was talking with another dad about wanting to go bow hunting. We were very much minding our own business and weren't intruding on anyone else. I also think we were highly aware that shooting animals with a flying projectile is not a great talk for a kid's swim lesson, so we were well away from the other parents and kids having our conversation. All of a sudden, the professor comes up to us, listens for half a second, and then goes into a full lecture mode about the evil of the robber barons of the animal flesh corporate complex. I told him that actually that was one of the reasons I wanted to hunt, was because factory farming kinda grossed me out. He actually held his finger up to me as if to say, shush, and said, I'm sorry, but I'm an expert in this field. I don't know exactly, but I believe he's a sociology professor. I was stunned and truly speechless. He began to lecture us about how evil our intentions were, and thank God, maybe 2 minutes in, the head coach called for all the parents to come around him for a discussion on the upcoming practice schedule. At practice today, I sat next to this professor, but wasn't a part of his group, and I could hear him talking about the evils of professional sports. Even though he'd been to a pro baseball game the night prior, but instead of the rest of the people who were there as fans, he went to research the human condition as an impartial observer. There are certain hipster parents who also have kids on the team that are just in awe of this guy, that I wanted to puke. He was perhaps second only in douchiness to animal flesh corporate complex. What's even worse about this guy is that the fact that it's clear that he's not there to discuss. He's there to lecture, and for the most part the parents who are interested in what he thinks just sit there taking it all in. So this guy and his wife will be in our house tonight. I'm dreading it. I mean physically dreading it. My wife is working very hard to make this dinner successful, but I don't know how much I can take of this guy. If he starts getting insulting towards me and other people, at what point do I speak up? Do I take it to a full-fledged argument if need be, or do I keep my quiet, let him dig his own grave, and most people recognize his douchiness for what it is? And maybe even giving and having an argument is exactly what he's looking for. Night Owl Eye quotes the section about keeping your quiet and letting him dig his own grave and then says, do this. Better to have this party be remembered as that time we invited that boring arsehole and he was awful, than that time OP blew up and ruined the party. Let him be the ruiner, not you. Amanet replies to that saying, so this. It's not like anyone is going to invite him back. Focus on talking to the people you do like and helping your wife with the food. I just have to get something out of the oven. It's a great reason to walk away from a boring conversation. A good host makes sure everyone has a good time. One person clearly doesn't even want to, so focus on everyone else who came along to have a fun night with you. After all, this is about your wife making friends, not you making enemies. Sleep Fight says, what's the point of arguing with him? Seriously, just let him talk, and it will quickly become apparent to everyone that this guy is a total clown. If he starts on some r/I am very smart bullshit, smile and nod politely and chuckle about it later. If he goes on and just say, well, on another note, how about that sport game / movie / innocuous subject, etc. If he tries to speak over you, say, I wasn't finished speaking, and calmly continue your point. Standing up for yourself doesn't automatically mean there's an argument to be had. If he shushes you, say pointedly, that was rude. If he says he's an expert, you can always say, well, we can agree to disagree. Take the higher road, but don't make yourself a doormat on the way. And maybe in the future, just don't invite him. He isn't entitled to be included just because the rest of the swim team parents are. Pastel says this, just shoot down everything he says as neutral as possible. Dismiss him. Or laugh loudly from a throne and proclaim that he has no power here. Hattie says, these are great. I don't mean to typecast, but there's got to be a well-spoken Englishman or woman somewhere who knows the best way to stay composed while belittling someone at a dinner party. It's a British tradition. I really like the comment that said, what's the point in arguing with him, and just sort of let him, dig his own grave if you like. But also standing up for yourself at the same time. Calling people out if they're just being rude. I know sometimes that can be really uncomfortable. I myself would find that uncomfortable as well, but I think it's a really good thing to do if you can. I look at it as the equivalent when someone takes the piss and you say, what was the joke? Call them out for it immediately. But yeah, like OP says, most of us have encountered someone like that in our lives. I can remember a scenario where someone just like this, and I found by the end of the evening, this person had just alienated themselves from everyone else around them, because by the end, when this person disappeared, people were like, who was that arsehole? Which in the end made me feel a bit sorry for him, but at the same time, he was being an arsehole. But OP did come in the post and edit/update and said, edit 11:07. Party is winding down, and I read through the first few responses but didn't realize this would blow up so much. Basically, the party went okay. Professor Guy wasn't too bad at first, but had a couple of drinks and was in rare form. He didn't realize he had the wrong crowd and no one was really paying attention to him, which I think was getting under his skin. The absolute craziest thing he said all night to a mixed race mum on the team, white/African American, was that she didn't understand the complexities of race in American Professor is White as a Ghost. She handled it like a real pro and just let him keep digging his hole. And I think her closing line was, I may not understand the complexities of being black in the US, but I'm sure my dad does. He was actually hit with a fire hose as a teenager. That didn't even shut him up, but at that point, his wife had had enough and pretty much said it was time to go. They were the first to leave. It's time to go decompress with some Fortnite. I did enjoy the fact that, it was 11:07, the party was winding down. Opie's on Reddit updating already. He's like, holy shit, I gotta tell the people. But what an absolute arsehole, and predictably, he's calling himself out at the party, alienating the people around him. It's a shame it happened at your party. But hopefully next time you do have a get-together, he won't be invited. But what do you guys make of this situation? Have you ever met your version of this person in real life? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Azurus7 from the Am I Overreacting subreddit. It says, Am I overreacting? My boyfriend told me he started dating me to bully his brother. I, 24 female, normally live with my boyfriend, 25 male, but spending the week with my cousin who lives about an hour away. By the way, boyfriend and I have been together 2 years. Boyfriend has been reaching out to me via FaceTime/text every day saying how much he misses me. Yesterday we FaceTimed and he said he can't wait for me to come back. I laughed and said that it's only been a week. He paused and randomly said, crazy that I only started dating you because of my brother. I actually love you now. That wasn't the plan. What a bloody Burke. He was laughing and reminiscing as if it's all a fond memory. I got confused and asked him to explain. He grinned and said that his brother, 24 male, had a massive crush on me back then. For some context, I met both at a gym. My boyfriend worked there as a personal trainer and still does. He said that he used to tease his brother about it. He was like, I made it my personal mission to have you. I was like, what the fuck? So you started dating me to show off to your brother? He put his hand up and said, hey, it's not as bad as it sounds. He explained that he found me physically attractive though, and he admitted he didn't like my attitude, so sleeping with me to bully his brother wasn't a big hurdle. I was so pissed and confused, but he said that it's not a big deal and that I need to calm down, etc. We hung up and had this text back and forth. I'm still so pissed and in disbelief. I feel like my entire relationship was based on a lie and I don't even know what's real anymore. So the transcript of the text messages said, Opie started by saying, "So help me understand. You seriously only started dating me because you wanted to make brother feel bad. Am I hearing this right?" He replied, "Yes." Opie said, "Why? What kind of person does this? It's so fucked up." He said it's not that bad. He was obsessed with you and it was funny to take what he wanted so desperately. It's a brother thing, lol. Opie said, "So it's a brother's thing to hurt each other." Then said his name and says, "Do you even like me?" He said, "Don't get me wrong. It started as a prank, but I fell in love with you." He said, "Yes, you had an attitude, but it only made it more..." And then it says stars, which I'm assuming is like fucking your brains out or something along those lines. Gee, bloody whiz. Then says, "Don't think now that none of this is real. It is real, and I'm not lying to you, babe. Not anymore. I wouldn't still be here if I didn't like you." Opie says, "So, brother had a crush on me and he was obsessed according to you. Instead of being supportive of your brother, you decided to make a move on me just to make him feel worse, and you see nothing wrong with that. You know, this tells me everything I need to know about you as a person. Are you a sociopath? What's fucked up is that he's a nice person and literally the least deserving of this fucked up treatment you're giving him. I can't believe what I'm hearing and reading, and you think all of this is normal." He said, "Why pity him, lol? He's fat. He's in his room 24/7, never had a girlfriend. He's a loser. Losers don't get nice things. I mean, all he can do is jerk to you. If he wanted you, he should have been a man, don't you think? No one forced your hand. You wanted me because I made your blank tingle. He simped from a distance, hoping you would give him a chance. But you're a woman, so I don't expect you to understand." Opie says, replying to losers don't get nice things. "So I'm a thing now." Opie says, "Why are you speaking of me as if I'm some object to brag about? Just stop texting me now. I don't want to hear anything from you." He said, "Babe, you're making this a bigger deal than it is. It's just a funny memory. It's a brother's thing. No big deal." "Babe? Come on." PMS. He's a kissless, overweight virgin. If I don't teach him life lessons, I'll be doing him a favor. He should be thanking me. Opie says, "Stop texting me or I'll block you. I need some time to myself." I mean, there ain't much to say apart from get rid of this fucking trash bag, is there? I mean, it was bad with the title and it just got worse all the way through. You can see the language he's using. You can see what kind of person he is. Fuck that guy off immediately. Commenter says, "Not overreacting. Your brother is an arsehole. Just look at his tone and how he talks about his brother. Well, you really were a thing for him. He would have left you long ago if he didn't fall in love with you. Seriously, no matter how I think, this is crazy as fuck." Commenter replies saying, "Can you imagine what he'd be like to his kids?" Fuck that. Opie says, if he's teaching his younger brother this fucked up lesson, what the fuck would he teach his son in future? Men are scary, I don't know. Commenter says, "Real question, what's his brother like? Can you see yourself ever being interested in him? Because it really sounds like you picked the wrong brother. The good news is that you can now date the nice one without having to give two shits if it bothers your arsehole ex." Opie says, "There's only so much of that family's genes I can take." Commenter says, "This 100% not a brother thing. I'd move heaven and earth for my bro." So Opie came in with an update and says, "I broke up with my boyfriend and planning on moving out. Going back to my sister's place while I figure out what to do next. I cancelled my gym membership at the gym he works at because I don't want to see his face anymore. I texted his brother that I found out everything because my ex was stupid enough to confess his stupid scheme like I wouldn't dump him over it. I told his brother that I'm sorry for the hurt he's been through and I'm always here to listen if he wants to talk. Edit, can you all stop telling me to have sex with his brother? It's getting weird as fuck. Real life is not porn, you weirdos." Yeah, there were some weird ass comments saying that sort of stuff. I mean, it just, why would that be a good idea? Why would that go through your head? That'd be a good idea. But it also popped into my head that guy is a personal trainer at the same time. And the way that he talks about his brother, the way that he talks about women, really weird. And should someone like that be in that position? But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's have another story. Now our next story comes from Poisondaisy and says, am I the arsehole for getting mad at my boyfriend for pretending not to know what an everything bagel is? The title is pretty self-explanatory, but here's the story. My boyfriend, 24 male, and I, 23 female, have been together for 5 years. Our entire relationship has this inside joke with his family where they pretend to not know what an everything bagel is. When we go to breakfast spots, he always gets a bagel sandwich and asks the poor cashier what kind of bagels they have. He pretends to be confused, saying he wants a bagel with everything on it. But not an everything bagel. He wants the cheese, the meat, etc. And there's usually this whole back and forth about what an everything bagel consists of. I usually stay quiet while he winds the worker up. What irritates me the most about this whole thing is that he never actually gets an everything bagel, just a plain one. A few times the cashier has gotten so frustrated that they just go to the back and pulled out an everything bagel to show him what it is, and he pretends he's never even seen one before. Today, we went into my favorite coffee shop in my hometown. As we're in town staying at a hotel for a friend's wedding, he started up again with the everything bagel thing. I interrupted him and said that if he didn't know what an everything bagel is, then he probably wouldn't like it and should just get plain. He gave me a look and started to say that he'd like to hear more about this new kind of bagel. But I told the cashier that we'd get our sandwiches on plain bagels and go. I blew up on him when we got to the car, telling him that this joke has gone too far and that he's wasting everyone's time. I told him I felt humiliated when he makes me just stand there while he gets off on frustrating an underpaid service worker. He's been giving me the silent treatment since then, and I just get so frustrated that I left him at the hotel, and now I'm staying in my parents' guest room. Absolutely not the arsehole in this situation at all, and it's not a joke. The other person isn't laughing, he's just taking the piss, trying to frustrate someone. Like you said, the only person getting off on it is himself. The person who's working in the bagel shop is just trying to go about their day, do their bloody job. They don't need this arsehole coming in, making it more difficult. Commenter says, not the arsehole. If you're the only person laughing and everyone else is pissed, it's not a funny joke. I can see why it might feel like a funny bit, but the net effect is just being a dick to random cashiers. Commenter replied saying, this all day. There really is nothing funny about this exchange. It isn't funny, it isn't cute, it isn't clever. He's simply torturing a service employee who has other things to do. Furthermore, the employee is in no position to call him out on his obvious bullshit as they continue to feign ignorance and get the worker in trouble. This is a form of bullying. T-Punk replies to that saying, there's a guy in my city that reviews new restaurants and started writing essays some time ago. One of them was about issues he has with service employees, and one of the points was that they don't have a sense of humor because when he complained that a dish that's supposed to be raw is not cooked enough, the employer apologized and said that he'd return it to the kitchen, instead of laughing at his funny joke. Suffice it to say, he's incredibly annoying in almost all his reviews. Another commenter says, not the arsehole. Service workers don't get paid enough to deal with this crap. He's intentionally being obnoxious and annoying these people on purpose for his own personal amusement. The fact that he finds this lame excuse for a joke funny after he's done it so many times in the past is beyond me. You would think it would get old after a while. Used reply says that, and can you imagine being stuck in line behind this arsehole? You're just trying to grab a coffee, maybe a breakfast sandwich, and this twerp wants to waste 10 minutes at the register doing his completely unfunny bagel stand-up comedy spiel. It's so hokey and embarrassing. Even worse and more embarrassing is he's upset that she didn't allow him to play out his second-rate George Costanza fantasy routine for the billionth time. It's just so bad. I don't know how poor OP hasn't died of embarrassment already. And one more comment from Past Ad who says, not the arsehole. This isn't a joke, it's just being a jerk. Cashiers are there to entertain customers. They're there to take their orders and money. Messing with them because they can't shut you down is petty as fuck. But I don't know why you didn't call him out on it before now though, because it doesn't sound new. By the way, keep an eye on this kind of thing. You can often tell a lot about the type of person someone is by how they treat people in the service industry. Opie says, I've tried to call him out on it a couple of times before, because I've been hearing this joke for 5 years now. But he's so stubborn sometimes it's hard. He and his family have used this joke most of his life, and apparently it's never gotten old to him. It's also escalated from just a little kidding to a whole show on his part. I kinda just actively avoid going places that serve bagels with him, so it doesn't come up at all. He's usually very nice to service workers, at least from what I've seen. With this being the exception, but I'm sure going to be keeping a close eye on him when we go out. So Opie added a small update within the post and says he broke up with me this morning, dropped off the stuff I left at the hotel at my parents' and wouldn't look me in the eye. I'll be telling people that we broke up because I didn't think his joke about bagels was funny. My dad thinks this is hilarious and that he had come running back asking to get back together within the week. So at least someone is laughing. I wonder why he broke up with OP rather than the other way around on this. What do you guys make of this situation? Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.